Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm News Jester. My name is Junior. And today we're going to be reviewing Threezero's 1/6 scale Destro from their G.I. Joe line. Um, let's spoil it. I like this figure. I really do. I like how the company is handling things. The price is just unbeatable, honestly. It's $150. Now I've seen the reviews of Hono Wolverine, which is going for 160. And yes, it's very impressive. I really like the innovation that they're doing with their fully fleshed bare arms. I think it's very, very successful, very competitive to what Threezero is doing. But the amount of accessories compared to what you're getting with the Hono Wolverine, I think Threezero trumps it, because with the Threezero figures that I've seen so far, the accessories may not be comparable to what Hot Toys brings, but all the accessories that you will ever require from their figures are already included. It's got enough set of hands. It's got two guns, submachine gun and a pistol. And Destro's got his own briefcase to bring his whatever stuff he's bringing in. It's basically a complete package when it comes to accessories. So for the price, it's really well done. I also like the fact that Threezero seems to be doing a lot of experimentations in between their figures. They do a lot of things that seems to see. It seems like their attitude is, we can try to do better and let's see where it goes. And sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss. As you can see, I have him posed like that, so his arms can go as high as that. They are ratcheted, so that's very well done. Nice paint and everything. The other improvement is the holster. Look at the holster design. This is now completely rubber, and look, it's got a very simple ratchet holding thing over here, compared to the Cobra Commander. Remember I said I wish they had just like sculpted this, because this seems so flat and kind of bulky and awkward, especially with the latching of the upper part of the holster. Definitely much more improved with this one, with the Destro. So for the value for 150 for this figure, it's just unbeatable. Is it a perfect figure? No. And it may seem like the rest of my review might be a downer or might be against the product. It's far from it. Like every figure that I bought, I evaluate it and I see what's wrong with it, but I also see what's positive in it. And I point out what's wrong with it just because it's there. I cannot not say it, and omit it when I know it's there, you know? So one of the things that's very irritating, I have 4 of these Threezero figures right now, and this one seems to be the one that's really hard to push these hands into their sockets. You really need to make sure you push it in there as deep as you can, and I think any kind of moving it around will make it fall off. That's been my experience so far. I haven't had that problem even with Cobra Commander. Cobra Commander, I just make sure I push this in, and it stays much better than it does on Destro. The other thing I will note, and most of my notations now, you'll see it on my later on in the video where I'm experiencing it for the first time and I'm articulating it. So one of the things I noted was the construction of the waist all the way down to the holster is one piece of rubber. So I thought it would restrict the articulation a lot on the hip movement on this one. It didn't. I was surprised it was able to go as high as that. So my table is wobbly. So that's good. I thought it would be restricted, but it wasn't. It goes up pretty well. So you can go high like that, but because of how this thing is just one piece, it might go down a little bit. Okay? So that's actually pretty good considering it's one piece. But I think because there's only thin piece over there, it's not forcing it back to the original shape. The other thing is, I really tried. I tried to lift the belt while pushing the pants down because I really don't like this extra piece that's hanging in there. It doesn't look right, but you can't. As much as you pull it down, it will just revert back, like go up like that, because this is connected to the fabric here. I think they glued it, and they might have done it on the sides as well. I know for sure in the front that they did. So however much you try to push it down like that to make it look better, it'll just go back up. What other things? I was surprised. I thought because the underneath the body is plastic, hard plastic. It's not the rubberized body that they did on Snake Eyes or in Storm Shadow anymore. I thought it would be able to accomplish the same range of movement as they did on the Cobra Commander. As you can see, goes well beyond 90. But the fabric that they use, it has some sort of lining underneath where maybe a thin foam of lining is in there. I'm pretty sure it's not like a rubber body, a rubber arm in here. But what happens is, after a certain point, the elbow starts ratcheting back. See, it's almost like thin rubber, this fabric, but it's not. It's got some sort of lining underneath that's strong enough to move the ratchet back. I mean, I feel it's pretty strong ratchet, but it's still able to push it back. I really like how the different textures that they did, that they printed on this fabric. This puffy thing on the shoulders. First time I've ever seen that kind of design for that one. I thought it would just like flare out like that, but yeah, kind of reminiscent of the older costumes in medieval times. So this pants, again, it has some sort of fabric lining, a thicker fabric lining underneath there. It's got a nice silhouette to it, and as you can see, when you're putting it up like that, it folds well, and when you bring it down, the creases remain. So I don't know about that yet, but once you pose it, it poses well, I think. I mean, it's not like super articulated like an action figure, but definitely impressive for the price. Definitely the value is there. So, like I said, I think my plan for this particular collection, um, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna get Baroness for sure. I need more good guys in this thing, so I'm gonna need to get Duke, um, probably Scarlet or Lady J, and then Flint, and that'll be the end for me for this collection. I don't have any more room for 1/6 scale, so like I said, for my GI Joe collection, I'm gonna stick with the GI Joe classifieds. But this is just an upper version of the GI Joe collection. And for the price, guys, you can't beat it. I mean, 150 for this, for the quality that you're getting. So yeah, definitely a buy, I think, if you like GI Joe. And if you like GI Joe a lot, like I said, I like the fact that the company is experimenting on how they're developing the fabric, how they're developing the body, so that maybe eventually they'll perfect their methods. But in the meantime, there is going to be some hit and misses for this line, but I think it's well worth it. Yeah. So that's it. Stick around for the unboxing, really quick, and then messing around with the articulation and my first hand inspection of the figure and the material. And I hope you guys to see you soon. Bye. So here's the box, and it's very plain, just like any other Threezero G.I. Joe figures. This is the actual figure itself. Here's the side, and then there's more photos of the figure. That's basically it. And it's got the window opening here, but you can see how thin this thing is. But I'm okay. It's just, you know, at least this gives us a chance to look at the figure if you're ever shopping for it, so you can see what the figure kind of looks like before making the decision to buy. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what's inside. Comes with this extra gauntlet with the missiles already exposed. Gunmetal. Very subtle dry washing, I think. I can barely see it, but it's very subtle. I kind of like that because it's this the dry brushing is in scale relative to the figure. Most of the dry brushing we see, it's so blatant, so big that sometimes you really don't see that kind in life or to scale. So, or it's too big. Then it comes with this gun over here. This thing is painted in two tones, black and the gunmetal gray. And I think, I think there is some small dry brushing here at the very edges. That's close to this what it should be in scale. Yeah, definitely. I can definitely see some silver dry brushing right here. Yeah, that's more evident. And I think at this scale, the dry brushing is done well to the scale of the figure. It shouldn't be too blatant. It shouldn't be too much. So that's nicely done. And then comes with this one. Again, just another two-tone. Actually, I think more than... There's actually three tones here. The black, gunmetal, and this one, which is different. You can see it in the camera more so than in person. Very nice detail. And the clip does come out, so that's good. And then the ammo is nicely painted over there. There is some sort of detail inside, but I think it's more just to hold it in. Then it comes with 6 other hands, kind of like a grappling hand, a trigger hand, the opposite trigger hand, and the opposite grappling hand. And this is some sort of maybe like a knife wielding hand. I'm gonna look more into detail with this particular, just one of the hands, just to see, just to show that there is dry brushing. It's very close to what they painted the guns with, just enough to highlight the detail that's inherent in the hands. And then again, it only comes with 2 extra pegs, whereas before we had 4. And then it comes with this briefcase, as you see me open up. This is another foam layer to cover this part up. This one says Mars. Then it has these extra pouches, metal pouches. I'm not sure if you can, looks like you can install them on Destro. Oh yeah, I see it. I see where you install it. 3 extra missiles if you want to install that in his hands. And I guess these are some sort of explosives. Very nicely detailed. suitcase. So I wonder, actually, you know what? This is probably supposed to lie like that. And then you see the Mars logo. Let me close it up. There's no latch or anything, nothing to catch it. There is well, actually there is a slight catch here. But I think it just closes naturally. Have a hinge here in the handle. These don't turn, they're just there for detail. Some key locks over there, it's pretty cool. They had it at that detail. This is a very robust case. I really like it. Then of course it has the Cobra symbol. Let's look at that face. This is very, very impressive. The angular detail that's being captured in this one really has that menacing look of Destro. Of course, in the cartoons, his features moved with his expression, but oh, I didn't realize they put a pointed ear. But this is just really, really well done. And while we're here, we might as well look at this chain. It's not a real chain, it's just rubbery plastic. The detail is still pretty good. So it is connected by that one small chain. Translucent ruby over there. And the head. Okay. This is almost like a cushiony type. I didn't think that would be the design for that. But it is reminiscent of those early mid-century, 13th or 14th century, where they have these puffy necklace shoulder thingies, the nobles and all that stuff. Oh, and one of the things I also wanted to point out is how the detail of this mask goes all the way down to the collar. Oh, and also that's how they did it. So the collar is actually a separate piece, as you can see it floating over here. So more than likely what they did is this whole neck is just one piece. The upper part is painted silver and the lower part is just regular flesh tone. And you can even see, if you pull down the color, the ending of that paint right there. Interesting. I mean, you'll never know it unless you start poking at it. So let's look at the detail on this uniform. The one drawback that I'm seeing that I don't like is this zipper is just printed on. It's not an actual zipper. I don't need it to be functional, and I suppose the way it's constructed, I guess this serves the same purpose. But it's just so weird because at this scale you can definitely do zippers like that, but I think you'll see the obvious separation of fabric. So I guess that's why they went with a printed zipper instead. Obviously it looks fake, but I think it accomplishes the mission more, so it's more flushed to the uniform rather than having kind of like how this thing is, this pants, how it's really more pronounced than it should be. That would have happened here if this had been an original zipper. The interesting uses of texture on this, it's one simple fabric, but it's printed with several surface textures. Like for example, this mesh, this is just printed on. The zipper, you can kind of feel the texture of the zipper, so that's also printed on the fabric. So yeah, I'm kind of afraid how this material will age, if this will start deteriorating or anything like that. That all depends on the ink that they used. I think we're kind of into a lot of years but this is still kind of a new technology, this printed on to the fabric to create textures that we're still unsure how long they'll last. So Look at that. They even put this design. So really well designed feature, I think. And the tailoring on this one is much more impressive than the Cobra Commander, where the Cobra Commander, one of the features that I said was that it felt like it didn't fit what a commander should look like. Not it felt like kind of out of size. This one, it's not. This is as you can see. Look at how this point of the shoulder like really is a sharp angle, and look at how it just like drapes down. The only thing is, oh, you can bring down the arms. One of the things that I always look into the figure is how much it will allow the figure's hands to rest on the side. So that's pretty good too. The belt is kind of weird. It, because it feels like it's on there. It's not. Well, is it moving? 'Cause I want to move it. Oh, I see. What's preventing it from moving is that the belt is actually one piece onto the thigh. How did they accomplish that? Because this is molded. I I don't know if this is a separate piece from this one, but it's one piece. This whole thing is one piece. Now I'm afraid how it's going to affect the articulation. So here's the detail of the gauntlet. Here's the detail of the other gauntlet. Here is the boots. Again, this uses the Threezero boots design, which I really do love. It looks ugly when you're exposing it like that, but the functionality that it gives you is excellent. Look at that. That is a lot of movement. And because it's cut, because the way they designed the boots, look at that. You almost can't tell it's there unless you're moving it, you know. So that's a very well, nicely balanced design on the figure. So for articulation, because of how they designed this neck piece, this necklace, being actually part of the body and it's just painted silver, you don't lose. This is not one piece. It's basically two pieces. So it gives movement. It allows movement for the head a lot more than had it been this one piece together. So you get a lot of movement. My only concern is because this is just painted silver, the more you move it, if you're not careful with how you're moving it, you're going to be scuffing that silver paint, and that's going to start showing. So just be careful when you're moving the joint. You know you're going to be causing paint rub. So I would suggest pick the pose that you want for the head and stick with it. There is no cut in the neck because it maintains that nice anatomy, you know, all the way down to the chest, which I prefer. You have a lot of movement in the head anyway. That's how far it goes down and how far it goes up. And I think that's all you need, honestly. Yeah, definitely enough range and movement on the head that it accomplishes what you need. For the shoulder articulation, you heard it before where it was having ratchets in there. Very nice small elevation of ratchets, so you know you can hold it in. This is on a plastic body, so that's good. Does have a bicep swivel. It does have, I see. It is double jointed, so it goes past 90. This is a plastic, so I don't know why it's having resistance in there. The other thing too that I probably haven't noted yet is I have to admit, I like the fact that Threezero is experimenting with how they're doing their fabric and costumes on this figure. So we had a different kind of costume on Storm Shadow, where it's thinner plastic, but it's good because it mimics the fold much better at this scale. And then Cobra Commander, which had a more thicker fabric for the costume, which I didn't like. because it felt that the way it hugs the body, it felt too unfit, I guess I would say. And now this one with Destro, they have some sort of padding going on the fabric, because see how I'm able to press that? I don't think that's the body. I think that's in the fabric. And as a consequence of that, because there's some sort of like a very thin fabric going on, or thin lining going on in this fabric, and that's the one that's causing the resistance, because this has to be plastic. This, the body underneath it has to be like, see, you can see it's kind of like how this thing is puffy where it has foam. It's almost like that. It's got like some sort of thin foam in here that allows it to give. The good thing is, and I kind of, I wonder. Now here's Storm Shadow again. I'm bringing him out as a comparison with how Threezero is developing, how they're doing these figures, right? So you see this nice detail on Storm Shadow, the musculature that's going on, but this is hard rubber, so you don't have any kind of articulation in the entire torso, which I think is too much of a sacrifice for this figure. Now, going back to Destro, you still have the same design elements going on in the fabric, but because it's just fabric, you retain the movement on the figure, the articulation on the body is a lot. The only thing I would point out is because it's not ratcheted or anything, it's just friction. Even though it allows for more range of movement, it's not going to be able to hold it too much because the fabric is going to start fighting it. But you can still get a lot of movement out of whatever's going on here. Even though whatever's going on in the elbow where it's starting to fight past 90, so you see how even at 90 it starts to fight it. I still kind of like it. It's still ratcheted. Again, I'm kind of leery with how well this fabric will hold on these folds as time goes on. So let's go back to this belt holster situation. So as I've noted, the belt is basically one piece, goes down here all the way to the thigh. And I don't know how they were able to do this, because I don't see any point where they can connect it. So, and I'm not even going to try to figure it out, I guess, too much. But one of the drawbacks is, look at how high the top of the pants are sitting on this belt. It doesn't look good. I suppose one of the things that you could do is try to pull the pants down a little bit as you're pushing the belt a little bit higher, but it's just fighting it now. I kind of wish that we could lessen the material showing on that belt, on top of that belt. So it, kind of maybe, but it keeps riding up. Again, the foam or material lining that they're using underneath this pants, it's so weird to feel it. To feel it there, you know. Yeah. So what scared me after figuring out how they did that was what's going to happen with the articulation in this leg. Well, let's see. You can get it up here, but yeah, it's able to hold it a little bit better, I suppose. Oh, that's just this fabric. It just feels weird to the touch. I mean, it looks good, but it's just really weird to think of. And you're getting this bunching up. So let me mess around off camera on this one, and I'll give up my assessment of the figure. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys soon on another figure. Bye.